The year was 2358. Earth was no longer alone in the universe. Many alien races had joined the Galactic Council, and Earth had become an important member. It was a time of hope, but also a time of worry. The galaxy was full of strange and powerful beings, some kind and some dangerous. One of the most feared empires was the Valari Dominion. They ruled many star systems with an iron hand. Their people were tall, with pale blue skin and shining silver eyes. They were proud and serious. The Valari were known for their strict laws and cold leaders now. For the first time in history, the Valari were coming to Earth. They sent their Princess Valaya to meet the humans. She was young, but very powerful. The whole world was watching. At the big space station above Earth, people waited anxiously. The Valari ship was huge, with sharp edges and glowing lights. It slowly landed. The air was tense. Captain Jason Miller stood near the docking gate. He was chosen to be the escort for Princess Valaya. Jason was a man in his early 30s. Had short brown hair and warm brown eyes. Unlike many serious officers, Jason was easygoing. He liked jokes and often smiled. Some people said he was too casual for his job, but he always got things done. When the ship's door opened, a figure appeared. Princess Valaya stepped out. She was tall and graceful. Her silver hair shone like a star, and her eyes looked cold. She wore a blue dress with golden patterns, the mark of her royal family. Jason stepped forward and bowed slightly. "Welcome to Earth, Princess Valaya," he said. Valaya looked at him without emotion. "Thank you, Captain Miller." Jason smiled. He wanted to lighten the mood. "Hey, sweetie," he said, half-dashed joking. The room went silent. Everyone stared. How could a human call the alien princess sweetie? It was disrespectful. Someone was about to tell Jason to be serious, but then something surprising happened. Valia's face changed. Her cheeks turned pink. She looked away quickly and then back at Jason. "Yes, darling," she whispered softly. Jason blinked. He did not expect this. He laughed. Valaya laughed too. It was the first time anyone had heard her laugh. The guards around her stiffened. They whispered urgently. The Valari were shocked. Their princess, who had never shown feelings before, was blushing and laughing with a human. Jason felt a strange happiness. This moment was new and beautiful. Maybe humans had something special that even powerful aliens did not have. The days that followed were busy. Valaya was taken to meet Earth's leaders and see its wonders. But wherever she went, she kept thinking about that joke, that moment with Jason. Meanwhile, Jason was careful. He knew the Valari might not like her acting so differently. But he believed that maybe laughter and kindness were a strength, not a weakness. At night, Jason stood on the balcony of the space station. The stars shone bright. He thought about the future. Maybe this strange visit would change everything. Suddenly his communicator beeped. It was Valaya. "Captain Miller," she said quietly. "Thank you for making me laugh. I did not know I could feel this way." Jason smiled. "You're welcome, sweetie." They both laughed again, and the galaxy seemed a little less cold. Princess Valaya stayed on Earth longer than anyone expected. The humans showed her many things: their cities, their parks, their food, and their simple, joyful way of life. Captain Jason Miller stayed by her side, guiding her through this new world with patience and humor. Valaya found herself smiling more and more. It was strange to her. Her people, the Valari, were taught from birth to be serious and strong. Showing feelings was a sign of weakness. But here on Earth, emotions seemed like a gift. One afternoon, Jason took Valaya to a busy street market filled with colorful stalls. There were smells of spices, the sounds of people chatting, and children running around laughing. Valaya looked around with wide eyes. "This is amazing," she said softly. "On Valari's ships, we only see order and silence." Earth is messy, loud, and sometimes crazy. But that's what makes it alive. Valaya tried a piece of spicy food and coughed. Jason laughed and handed her water. "Not everything here is easy," he joked. She laughed too, a sound that was becoming more common. The guards who watched her were nervous. They whispered among themselves, worried about the princess's strange behavior. Back on the Valari Dominion, the High Council was growing restless. Reports came in from their spies. Valaya was smiling, laughing, acting less like a cold ruler and more like a curious child. The council members saw this as dangerous. "This human world is corrupting our princess," one said. "We must bring her home before it's too late." A large Valari warship suddenly appeared near Earth's orbit. Its captain sent a message: Princess Valaya must return immediately, or face consequences. On Earth, the news caused alarm. Governments prepared their defenses, knowing a war with the Valari would be deadly. Valaya was surprised by the message. She looked at Jason with fear. "They want me to go back. They will punish me if I refuse." Jason held her hand. "You don't have to go back if you don't want to. You are free." Valaya thought hard. She remembered the cold halls of the Valari Palace and the pressure to be perfect and strong. But here she felt free. She wanted to learn more about humans and their way of life. "I will stay," she said quietly. "I want to understand." Jason smiled warmly. "Good choice, sweetie." Days passed. Valaya and Jason spent time together exploring Earth. She learned about kindness, humor, and hope. She began to question everything she had been taught. One evening they sat under a big tree. In a quiet park, Valaya looked at the stars. "Why do your people laugh so much?" she asked. Jason thought. "Because laughter helps us live. It brings us closer. It makes hard times easier." Valaya nodded slowly. "I want that too." But trouble was coming. The Valari warship was waiting, and their patience was short. At a special meeting, the leaders of Earth and the Valari sent messages to each other. The Valari demanded Valaya's return. Earth's leaders promised to protect her. Valaya's guards grew uneasy. They wanted their princess to obey, but Valaya stood firm. "I choose to stay," she told them. "I choose to learn how to feel." The Valari commander shook his head. "This will lead to war." Jason looked at Valaya with hope. "Maybe it will lead to something better." That night, Valaya dreamed of a new future. One where her people and humans could live together, not as enemies, but as friends. The tension between Earth and the Valari Dominion grew heavier with each passing day. The Valari warship hovered silently above Earth's atmosphere, a silent reminder of the possible war looming ahead. But Princess Valaya refused to go back. Instead, she chose to stay and learn from the humans, especially from Captain Jason Miller, who had become her closest friend. Valaya's world was changing fast. The cold, harsh training of her childhood, where emotions were seen as weaknesses, clashed with the warmth she found on Earth. Jason's laughter and kindness were teaching her something new, that feelings could be powerful. One morning, took Valaya to a busy city square. People were talking, laughing, and sharing stories. Children ran around playing games, and street musicians filled the air with cheerful songs. Valaya looked around, her silver eyes shining with curiosity. "Your people seem very happy here," she said softly. Jason smiled. We find joy in small things. Even in difficult times, laughter helps us stay strong. Valaya nodded slowly, trying to hold on to this new idea. Back on the Valari warship, the High Council was watching closely. Reports came in that Valaya was changing more than expected. Her laughter, her smiles, they were spreading. Even some Valari soldiers who guarded her had started to feel emotions they never knew before. This worried the council. The humans' emotions are infecting our people, said one council member. We must stop this before it spreads. Scientists from Earth and the Valari began studying Valaya. They discovered something extraordinary. Her body reacted to human emotional energy in a way never seen before. Humans, it seemed, gave off a unique frequency through their feelings, a kind of psychic wave that could break down the emotional barriers in other species. Valaya's laughter was not just a sound, it was a new kind of power. Jason noticed this too. You're changing them, Valaya? Showing them there is more to life than control and fear? Valaya smiled. I feel alive for the first time. But the Valari High Commander was not happy. He ordered more soldiers to watch Valaya closely and report any changes. This human influence is dangerous, he said. If we lose control of the princess, we lose the Dominion. One evening, Valaya sat in her room aboard the Earth space station. Jason came in carrying 2 cups of tea. You look tired, he said gently. Valaya sighed. I am, but I want to keep learning. I want to be more than what they expect. Jason handed her a cup. You're brave, sweetie. She laughed softly. You always say that. We talked late into the night. Sharing stories about their childhoods, Valaya spoke of the strict training and cold discipline. Jason told stories of his messy family and friends. Through their talks, Valaya learned about human love, pain, hope, and dreams. The next day, news arrived that the Valari warship had moved closer to Earth. The Dominion's patience was running out. Earth's leaders prepared defenses, fearing war. But Valaya had an idea. She asked Jason to help her speak to the Valar, soldiers on the warship, through a secure channel. With Jason's help, Valaya sent a message, a simple message filled with hope and laughter. Look beyond fear, she said. There is more to life than war. We can be friends. The message was strange for the Valari soldiers. Some laughed quietly. Others looked confused. But many felt something new, a small warmth in their hearts. The High Commander was furious. Silence this madness, he ordered. But the soldiers hesitated. The princess's laughter had touched them. Back on Earth, Jason and Valaya watched. The stars, the galaxy was changing. The laughter of one human and one alien princess had begun to shake the foundations of a great empire. Valaya looked at Jason. Together, we can change the stars. Jason smiled. Yes, sweetie. Together. The tension in the galaxy had never been higher. The Valari Dominion's warship remained in Earth's orbit, but something had changed. Many Valari soldiers began questioning their cold rules. The princess's laughter and Jason's kindness were spreading through the ranks like wildfire. Despite this, the High Commander would not back down. He demanded that Princess Valaya return immediately to the Dominion capital, but Valaya refused. She wanted to prove that peace was possible. Jason stood beside her. If you go back alone, they might hurt you. I'm coming with you. Valaya looked surprised. You would risk your life for me. Jason grinned. Of course, sweetie. The plan was risky. They had to sneak onto a Dominion ship without being noticed. Jason and Valaya dressed in Valari uniforms and slipped past guards. Inside the ship, Valaya felt a mix of fear and hope. This was the place she had left. But now she saw it with different eyes. As they traveled toward the Valari capital, Jason kept his humor to lighten the mood, told jokes, sang old Earth songs, and teased Valaya gently. One day, as they walked through the corridors, Jason turned to her and said with a smile, Darling, if they ask, you're the princess who likes to laugh? Valaya blushed, but smiled. I think I like that. Her laughter echoed softly in the silent halls. Some guards whispered to each other in shock. Never before had a princess shown such warmth. When they reached the capital, the Valari Emperor awaited. He was a tall figure with cold eyes, the very image of power and authority. He stared at Valea and Jason. "Princess Valea," he said in a deep voice, "you have disobeyed the Dominion. Your actions threaten our future." Stood tall. "Father, I choose to stay with the humans. I choose to learn kindness and laughter. This is the true strength of a leader." The Emperor's face darkened. "Then you must prove your loyalty. Execute the human by your side." Jason stepped forward, calm and fearless. "I am not your enemy." Valea's voice was firm. "No, Jason is my friend, my partner. Together we will bring peace." The guards moved to arrest Jason, but something unexpected happened. Many of them hesitated. The laughter and joy they had begun to feel made it hard to obey orders that felt wrong. Even the Emperor paused. Deep inside, he felt a flicker of doubt. The cold walls of his mind started to crack. Valea looked at her father. "Power comes from fear, yes, but also from love and trust. Let us build a future together." For a long moment, silence filled the room. Then some guards smiled and stepped aside. The Emperor's face was unreadable, but the change was clear. Jason whispered to Valea, "We're making progress, sweetie." She smiled brightly. "We are," but the danger was not over. The old leaders still resisted change. The battle for the Dominion's soul was just beginning. The Valari Empire stood at a crossroads. For centuries, it had been ruled by fear, strict control, and cold logic. But now, the warmth of laughter and kindness, brought by one human and one princess, had begun to change everything. Valea and Jason stood before the Galactic Council. The hall was filled with many alien species, some curious, others suspicious. The Valari Emperor sat at the highest seat, his face still serious, but less cold than before. Valaria spoke clearly. "For too long, my people have been ruled by fear. We were taught to hide our feelings and think only of power, but I have seen another way, a way of hope, kindness, and laughter. This is strength." Jason stepped forward. "Humans are not perfect, but we have something special. Our feelings connect us. Our laughter breaks walls. Together, we can build a better galaxy." The crowd was silent. Then, one by one, delegates began to smile. Some even laughed quietly. The tension in the room melted. Back on Earth, news spread. Quickly, the story of the princess who chose to laugh with a human was everywhere. People cheered. Children drew pictures of Valea and Jason, holding hands, smiling. The Valari Empire began to change. Old laws were rewritten. Emotions were no longer seen as weakness, but as power. Soldiers who once followed cold orders now smiled and cared. Va. Lie. And Jason were married in a grand ceremony watched by millions across the stars. She wore a simple white dress, and he wore his Earth's uniform. They laughed and danced, surrounded by friends from many worlds. Years passed. The alliance between Earth and the Valari became stronger than anyone imagined. Together, they explored new planets, shared knowledge, protected peace. In a quiet moment, Laia and Jason sat on the balcony of their home, looking at the stars. Jason smiled. Who knew that just saying, "Hey, sweetie," would change the galaxy? Valaya laughed softly. It wasn't just your words. It was your heart. They held hands and watched the stars shine brightly. The galaxy was no longer a place of fear and war. It was a place of hope, laughter, and love, all. Because one human dared to say a simple, kind word.